Today we're going to talk strict overhead press and how to set it up. A lot of people have differences of opinions on how they actually press, what the body does. We were talking about it. We don't think we've seen very much information on actually setting up. If you followed us for a while, you know we're really intentful on our setup in any of our movements, squat, bench, deadlift. Well, there's the big three. So why not talk about setup for a strict overhead press? Now, I have to lead in strict overhead press standing. This is not an Olympic variation. This is not for my snatch grip. This is not for my clean and jerk or even a push press. This could carry over better to powerlifting, bodybuilding, and some strongman with smaller implements. So maybe axle or barbell. Definitely not a log press. Let's look at what goes wrong a lot that we see in position.
Yeah, so a few specific things I want to cover here. First one is letting your wrists extend as you get under the barbell here. So a classic example is people setting up like this. Up and out. Again, just awful wrist extension here. This is not going to be what we want to see from a strict overhead press, especially when we're trying to really optimize our bench press. You're not likely to have this kind of wrist extension in the bench press, so don't have it in the overhead press either. If you do, fix it. So when we actually get under this barbell, we want to go ahead and achieve nice stacked wrist positions before we actually go to unrack it here.
Look at the stacked position through here as well. I have to like that. Stacked, stacked.
Exactly. Perfect positions here. And then when it comes to our start point, I see a lot of people have a ton of confusion with this. Start point, I like to typically be just below our chin, because guess what? If I were to take this to the chest, same exact start position in the bench press. And again, this is going to be specifically strict overhead press, specifically carrying over in the bench press, especially if you want to, again, get better at the bench press. I really like this start point. A lot of people go into massive wrist extension trying to start on their chest. There's a time and place for that. For the strict overhead press, and the way we're showing it now, we want to start about below the chin, perfect stack positions. Now, lastly, the biggest thing I see wrong with people's overhead press when they go to press is they actually pack the head and extend as they press like so. But the problem is when we do that, the first motion is almost always forward. They end up having really crappy start to their overhead press by pressing forward first. What I like to do is kind of separate the two, okay? Pack the head, extend the thoracic spine a little bit, and then overhead press. Don't do them at the same time like so. It's a terrible start to your overhead press, that giant forward motion. And you'll then find yourself trying to get under the barbell as is out in front of you, just decreasing the efficiency massively. Get into your optimal start position first, whatever that is, then press. Don't try to do both at the same time.
Not to talk too much in reference to Olympic lifting, but what he talked about is something you'll definitely not see in high-level Olympic lifting. The bar is not going to make a giant C shape. There's no way that somebody's going to recover from here and pull it all the way through. So it might be confusing if you don't know what you're looking at, but we definitely don't want to initiate and drive off of here. When we talk about the stacked position that we're a very big fan of, it is okay, think the bench press, it is okay to start with some extension as long as we don't deviate more from that. So what we're saying is, if this is where you need to start your pressing position from, braced here, breathe into that brace, set your IAP here, as long as we maintain this position as the barbell transitions, it goes directly over our head, that's okay. What we don't want is extra deviation, even if it starts well, deviating farther and then coming back through. That is definitely going to lead to a loss of bracing. Last comments, Dad?
Yeah, so keep in mind that for optimal carryover, optimal power transfer, just optimal positions to handle heavy weight here, we want to achieve those stack positions in the wrist. We want to really make sure that we are not letting that barbell travel forward at first or anything other than that of that nature. So make sure we're achieving all those things that we mentioned, not having any of those faults, and get the most out of your strict overhead press.